Hello, welcome to a video for anybody that is getting into the clean racing community in Grand Theft Auto 5 on PC. I'm gonna go over some of the basics, some of the first things that aren't very clear to beginners. First, we'll talk about settings. Most people find that it is nice to drive with the vehicle camera height right here set to the highest possible setting, which is just high. That allows you to get a better view of the car, the apex, what's coming after the apex props and stuff on the track. Another thing that's important to talk about is your graphic settings, most importantly your FPS. For some reason in GTA, the way the physics work, it's FPS based for car handling. So 60 FPS is what the community locks their frame rate at to make it the most fair. Uh, what I use to do it, since I'm on NVIDIA, is I use the NVIDIA control panel and put a limit on it that way. I won't show you how to do that here because I'm not sure if it's different depending on your GPU and stuff like that in settings. So and also if you have an AMD card, it'll be different. But to do it without having to even exit the game, another way is come over here to graphics and set this refresh rate to 60 and hit apply. And then after you do that, uh, turn VSync on, and then that'll automatically lock your frames to 60 just doing that without you having to restart the game or something. So if you like to play the game at like 144 hertz, doing most everything else because it looks nice or higher refresh rate, and then join some racing and lock it to 60, then that's the easiest way to do it. Uh, I used to have a 75 hertz monitor, so I played at 75 FPS for a while before I knew about locking it to 60 or anything, and always wondered why I was a bit slower. And it turns out like it's not necessarily the higher the FPS, the faster you go type of thing. It varies from FPS to FPS what's faster or not. So like 60 is faster than 75 for most cars, and it also changes by car, and it's just a mess. We'll see if they fix any of that and expand it and enhanced. But to get the most consistent performance and so everybody's on the same page with lap time, fairness, and just racing fairness and quality in general, we all locked to 60 FPS. Now, we're also talking about bookmarking jobs. So, if you're on Social Club, like you find a race or something, you log into like the Social Club website and your friends publish a job, you can bookmark it. There's a little bookmark looking button, or it'll just say bookmark depending on where you're at. And that's how you like save races like offline. You can find races or races from Discord and then play them. It says once you bookmark it, you'll have to restart the game. You don't. You just need to refresh the page it would be on. When you do a play job, you do bookmarked like this. Uh, Most people bookmark races after they play them. I need to clean out my bookmarks. It's a mess. You can press Q at the job vote screen when you're voting on the race at the end of it, and that'll bookmark it on keyboard. Or say you forget, like, oh, what was that track we did? You can do recently played jobs and go in here, and then you can even bookmark from this list. So you go starting races, and then you press, for me, X for Xbox controller or whatever button. Then that lets you add tracks to your bookmarks list that way. It's like you just did a playlist. You're like, I loved all those tracks, but didn't bookmark each one individually. You can just go in and bookmark them all. Uh, as far as crews, a lot of times you have to be in a specific crew to get an invite if you don't have the person hosting the playlist on your friends list. But I'm being warned, if you switch crews like middle of a lobby, it'll boot you. Yeah, so you can do that. Crew change blocked. Okay, I got a menu to prevent modders and stuff from joining and crashing my game and crashing lobbies and stuff when I host. So I guess it blocked the crew change, so it didn't kick me. That's interesting. I guess if somebody joins and tries to force you to a different crew to kick you, it blocks that. So that makes sense. Uh, let's talk about car
Oh,
things.
hi. What can I do for you? How do you choose
What do we got
between your
here?
children?
What is something?
No
XA21's
problem.
good
I'll
enough.
have your personal vehicle brought around.
For most people, for tuning setups, because certain parts do affect the performance of cars, uh, I'll show you in. I guess I could have just used my auto shop garage, but I wanted to show you what tires can clip is, why people use off-road tires on a lot of cars. So in GTA, tires can clip means that the wheels have a property like a thing enabled that allows the tires to absorb more bumps by clipping through the ground instead of it being completely solid. I was hoping I could ram the front of my car under there, but I guess I cannot. The easiest way to see if tires have tire can clip or not, I think Bruffy1322 has a database, but I like to just test it myself because that database has been known to have the occasional error. Like, very rare is it wrong, but it has happened. I don't know how. Well, there's a spot over here, and it's kind of by the customs that I usually test it at, just because I know where it is. And you can just ram the front of the nose of the car down, and you'll see right there how the tires clip through the ground. And that allows it to absorb bumps a little better, which is very helpful in city racing. On the bumpy roads that this map has, it makes them feel a lot less bumpier. In the link description of this video, different tires have slightly different handling characteristics. The exact mechanisms for which that happens aren't the most well understood, or understood at all. But I will leave a link that kind of goes over that in the description. But it's not super important. Generally, the best bet is, I'll show you, just go to Los Santos Customs and just kind of do the basic generic setup. That'll be good for most people most of the time.
What can the best mechanic in LS do for you?
And people argue over this, but this isn't meant to be like this is the only setup, but somewhere to start.
Guaranteed.
Armor you can do 100%, doesn't really matter. A lot of people have race brakes, leave their brakes stock. And it kind of lets you control your braking a little bit easier without it braking too much. And I think it gives better weight transfer. Engine tune, upgrade, all this stuff doesn't really matter. Do whatever. For the most part, each modification part that you put on a car has a weight value attached to it. So when you add to the car, it'll, in theory, add weight to that area of the car, depending on what that weight is set to. So it kind of just varies. So if like you have a car that you know the back end's coming loose a lot or something, like it feels light back there, you can try to throw something back there, like a bigger spoiler or something, and put some weight back there. Uh, I suck at doing that, so I'm the worst person to ask about that stuff. All your performance upgrades, uh, due to the max pretty much, like this, the turbo, transmission, and engine stuff. The suspension, most people actually prefer stock suspension. It's generally like stock suspension's a bit looser, better over bumps, but on like a flatter track you won't be able to hold the lines as sharp. Whereas the lower suspension, like competition, would be good on like a really flat track where you're not going over mini bumps mid corner and stuff like that. At least in theory. The actual hitbox of the car doesn't change, so it like this won't hit lower things than like this, for example, as far as I know, but the way the car handles itself will. Transmission, race transmission, turbo, yes. The wheels, good default rim is just dune bashers off road. If you're not sure what to do, it's a good place to start. People even argue over if window tinting has an effect, if it has a weight value. attached to it that makes the car handle different, puts more weight in the center. I don't know how that stuff works. But that's the general gist of car modifications for racing purposes. I'm gonna pause it here and then load up a track and show you kind of some track things. We'll just do it all on continuous video. So practice a track, just load it like this. I made a bunch of tracks for Dirty's recruitment playlist, and I was like, we should probably just make a generic video that shows racing basics. Where is it? Just a basic city track. Most of the times in playlist, you'll see the host will set it to GTA mode. What that allows is for car sharing, which means like if the host types in chat sports, you can only take a filter and you don't own a custom filter, then with GTA mode enabled, you can get out of the car, go grab somebody else's filter, and continue to do the race. You don't have to own it. And they can just, once you grab their car, they can just respawn. And you can borrow their car for the race, which is pretty handy. Most playlist hosts with Contact Racing GTA mode, you won't go at the start, you will wait. It's important that if you decide to, you want to go to the back, either you don't want to deal with first corner issues that some people may have, or you aren't sure of your skills and just don't want to cause any issues yourself and go to the back, that's fine. But if somebody goes to the back, don't move up and take their spot. The general rule is never move up on the grid, you can move back though. So like if you spawn back here, if somebody in front of you moves, don't move up and take their spot. Just stay where you were. And then some hosts do the starting of the race based on a sticky bomb. Like they'll put a sticky bomb generally somewhere. I suck at using weapons in this game so much. Like I never use sticky bombs. And then they'll type in chat sticky soon. That means should probably turn this off because this will block explosions by default. This means when you hear explosion like that, go. That's when the race starts. Some hosts like me, I like to do it where you just start at a timer, so that way people with old boomer reflexes like me aren't like, shit, sticky bomb, let's go. So it'll be like start at 125 and you just wait for the timer to hit 125. And then everybody starts a little closer to the same time, I've noticed, when I do it on timer versus on stickies. As far as general racing etiquette and playlist, it's going to be pretty strict on clean racing. If you crash somebody, wait for them to regain their position. You don't have to immediately stop racing and pull over. Like say, oh crap, things happen here, I crashed somebody, I need to pull over, let them pass. Don't just stop in the middle of the track up there where you could potentially be in the way. And it's fine to make sure you're here, plenty off racing line, wait for them to come by, overtake their position, and then most importantly wait for the track to be clear, the racing line to be clear, and rejoining won't cause any issues. Because most of the time when playlists get really crashy and hectic, it isn't people crashing people and not waiting, it's people crashing people and waiting as little as possible, rejoining into the middle of the racing line, causing more incidents. So that's where most issues on playlists happen, is just people doing bad rejoins, not looking when they're rejoining a track. If you get crashed, the same rejoining rules happen. So like say I'm coming over here, somebody just wrecks the crap out of me and I'm just in the wall, crash, end up over here. Don't immediately go back into the racing line. Since you've crashed and you're technically off track limits now, just wait for the racing line to be clear and then rejoin. Same like if you're like, oh crap, you do this. then you rejoin here and people are coming in fast and hit you here, and then they crash, that's your fault. So then you need to wait for them, let them go, wait for the race line to be cleared, and then start taking off again. Just, it's easy to get overheated and angry when you get crashed. I just realize mistakes happen. Most people are trying to be clean with lag and other issues like that. It's never going to be perfect, but just try to have fun battles with the people you're around, and just realize it's just for a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously. As far as other rules go in playlist, GTA mode is just for car changes. Like, if you're having a bad race, don't pull over and start spamming like bombs and fireworks and stuff places. No killing also is a very big rule. Generally, if you kill another driver during the middle of a race in GTA mode, you will get kicked from the playlist and banned. Most hosts do not tolerate that, so don't do that. I think that covers most of it. Some tracks in GTA have a pit lane. Most of mine do because I try to use them for the event purpose. The pit watcher will tell you when you can take your pit stop if it's required. They'll say if it's required in the race or not. If it is required, just they'll say if you have to stop or not, or you can just keep driving. But just so you know that I should probably raise this wall a little bit. So that's a thing that might happen. What it is and when to do it. They'll say if the pit is open between laps 1 and 10 or whatever, or whenever you can pit, they'll let you know. They'll be clear on all of that. I think that pretty much covers everything. Welcome to the clean racing community. If you have any questions, feel free to say something about it in the comments. If I forgot to mention anything that you guys feel is important, let me know. I'll put a link to some decent starter tracks if, like, you're brand new to clean racing, you don't know anybody in the community, you just want some tracks to play. That would be fun. I'll put a link to some creators in there. If you're brand new, I'll put a link to my Discord server, and then if you're joining from this video, like you just found this video, just join in there and tell us what type of racing you're looking for, and we'll get you sorted out with a crew that does good clean racing. We do, like, me and most of the people I race with, we mainly do like Grand Prix style non-stunt tracks, but we do occasionally do stunt tracks, and then occasionally I join other communities that do way more stunt tracks. So clean racing in GTA isn't just limited to Grand Prix style racing. There's clean stunt communities, all sorts of communities that are kind of confusing and hard to find because this game doesn't do the best job promoting them. So if you are interested in that type of thing, let us know. We'll be happy to get you sorted out. If you're joining from Dirty Maddie's recruitment session, or you find this video any other way, again, welcome. Hopefully we'll see you on the track, and hopefully this video helps sort out some of the beginning things, any of the basic questions, basic racing rules. We will, real quick before I end this, talk about racing line and proper etiquette like that. It kind of differs the type of rules people host from crew to crew and playlist to playlist as far as like the exact specifics, like F1 versus whatever. But for me and my playlist, generally I like to do side-by-side, more casual battles and casual racing, which means if somebody's on the inside of me right here, I make sure to give them room at the apex, and then make sure they have plenty of room to again apex again and go on my inside again. Have good side-by-side battles like that. Makes it really fun. Go wide, give plenty of space, and they'll take inside line and vice versa. That's if you're side-by-side. Like if I'm on the inside, somebody's on my left right now, and I'm going around this corner, and instead of giving them space, I just kind of go too wide, hit them to that wall, and crash them. I consider that my fault, and I wait for it. Even though the rules technically, if you have the inside, is some people play by, like, if you have the inside of the corner, the outside's yours, and that move would have been fine. But for me, my playlist, if you ever join my style of racing, I play where that would be your fault, and you need to wait for that. Don't just ram people over walls and off the track. Have good side-by-side, clean racing battles. Makes the battles more fun and keeps it more friendly. Like, it's nice being able to have other racers that you know you can trust to go around the corner and leave you space and have good side-by-side battles. It's way more fun than just me like, haha, I rammed them against the wall and don't have to wait. But this varies by host and by crew. So if you aren't sure, ask at the start. Just be like, hey, what exact rules do you play by? And they'll let you know. Usually it'll be in whatever crew's Discord. They'll have a rules section that'll specify it. If you aren't sure, you just join a playlist. The safest way to do it is, and how most people in the community do it, is kind of how I described. Just leave plenty of space for the other driver and just have a good time. But yeah, I'll see you on the track. Hopefully this video clears things up and goes over enough of it for you to get a general idea and be able to join a playlist and join a race and know what's going on. Most people in crews will announce their playlist in their respective Discord servers. We'll usually join their Discord servers, and then it'll be a channel where you can assign yourself roles, and you can assign yourself like a playlist notification role, and that way when playlist hosts like myself host, you get a notification in Discord and know exactly what time it's going to happen and how to join in and stuff. And feel free, if you have any questions about joining or aren't sure about anything, just ask in the Discord. Most people are pretty willing to help newer drivers especially learn and welcome them into the community. Alright. Take a second. Think. Am I forgetting anything? Probably. Am I going to remember? Nope. It'll be another video. See ya.